We've all made content that we're not very proud of. Possibly a Slenderman video that you look back and say, ooh, that was pretty gay of me. You didn't make a thumbnail at all, and it was just a still frame of your video because you were either retarded or you couldn't be fucked open Photoshop because you had no passion at what you do.
How's it going, party people? Skydubs here, back again with another legit game review. Today we'll be looking at a game that I've already made a review on, okay? But I find that video really cringy and really poorly done. And also I gave the game an 8 out of 10, even though I don't think that that's what the game should be rated now that I think about it. And the game that I'm talking about is my favorite game of all time, of course, Spyro's Adventure. Now, in my original review I already said why this is my favorite game, you know, it's one of my first games, and I always loved collecting stuff, so you know, when you mix a game and collecting figures, it's just the perfect game for me. And you know, I have a lot of nostalgia towards it, and I think that it's actually a good game. It's definitely not the best game ever, but it's definitely my favorite. Now, in the original review, I basically gave a blind critique, you know, I was just talking about how good the game is, and even when I mentioned something that I disliked, I'd just move on. And I gave it an 8 out of 10, which I feel like it really isn't fair. So I'm here for the Skylander month, yay! To review Skylanders Spyro's Adventure on its 9th anniversary. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure is a game made by Toys for Bob with help of Vicarious Visions, the companies that made Madagascar. Good to know that we're in good hands. While Skylanders weren't the first game to make the Toys to Life concept, they were the one that popularized it the most, which led to Disney Infinity and Amiibo making their own styles of Toys to Life figures. However, they all fall flat compared to Skylanders. But of course they would fall flat when the characters from the first 3 games were all excellently thought and excellently designed, and all of them are very memorable. And it's a genius idea to sell toys like this, even though it is very scummy for preying on children.
But here is the part that really likes to punch people in the dick. People hate Skylanders simply because they feel like it ruins Spyro. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, it's the fucking internet. But surely it can't be that bad. We've played some pretty horrendous games on this channel, a lot of which were Spyro games, I'll remind you. So before we get started, I'd just like to say, fuck you if you've ever said that shit without having played any of the games.
We get introduced to Skylands by our, I don't know, mentor Ion. I still don't know what his role exactly is, but before he was our mentor, he used to be the biggest portal master that would lead all of the Skylanders to battles, and they protected the core of light. But then, all of a sudden, darkness comes. I wonder where they've got that idea from. We immediately get introduced to the main villain of the game, Chaos, and this is one of my biggest problems of the games.
Fear my giant floating head!
See? I told you the head isn't scary enough.
Why did they do that? I get that it's a joke for dumb kids, but the least you could do was leave the big reveal till the end of the game.
I have a huge problem with Chaos, not just in the first game, I just don't like how he's the main villain in all of the games. Like, you'd think that after some time somebody will fucking kill him. Then the core of light gets destroyed, Eon's body is gone, he's still somehow alive, for fuck's sake, I don't know why. I guess they didn't thought that one out. And Skylanders get teleported to Earth. Now this is a really cool way of them explaining how they came to Earth, and I really like this story. Hugo is the only one to survive the explosion, and he's the one leading you through the adventure. He's the one telling you where you need to go or what part of the core you need to get, and he gets pretty boring as his personality is that he hates sheep.
Back! Back, you vile beasts!
You have Flynn, who is pretty funny and he's a fan favorite.
You see how I was able to hit that? That takes years of practice and skill.
However, most of his jokes are about like girls and Callie, which is pretty cringy in my opinion. Which leads me on to Callie, who is pretty boring and is only there to give you heroic challenges. She's pretty forgettable, just like most of the NPCs, not all of them. There is T-Bone, who is fucking sick. I really enjoy his jokes, some of them are cringy, but you know, I really enjoy most of them. There is also Quigley, who is the only NPC to see the difference between Skylanders, but then again his jokes are pretty bad.
You're an Archean robot, huh? Cool.
Also there's Arbo, he's pretty weird.
But I guess that's because I'm a tree.
Now the soundtrack was made by Hans Zimmer and Balf, I think, and holy shit is it amazing. It's perfect, like I cannot compliment it enough. I unironically listen to it when I'm not playing the game. I have nostalgia towards it, it fits the game perfectly. Like, what is there to say about a soundtrack that hasn't already been said? Like it's just amazing. Like, it gives you such a nice feeling when you listen to it, and you know, like, it fits every single level perfectly. And I can confidently say that it's one of the best soundtracks that I've ever heard. For each element there is an elemental gate, which means that since you get 3 elements in the starter pack, you need another 5 figures to 100% the game, which is not too bad considering they're pretty cheap and they all are different, have unique game styles, and can all be upgraded and leveled up with coins you collect in the levels. Now, a big problem with this game is that there is no jumping. Instead, Skylanders need to walk over these bounce pads, which is fucking stupid. Now, another thing that sucks is that these elemental gates only give you a hat and sometimes a treasure chest. While I really enjoy the hats, they should have added more to the elemental gates. Now, even without jumping, I really enjoyed the gameplay. This is a beat 'em up game, but it's a really fun beat 'em up game and I really enjoy it. And it's also really cool that they encourage you to change Skylanders as much as possible so that the gameplay doesn't feel repetitive. And the locations and the level design is also really good. Whether you're in the catacombs or on the battlefield or flying around the water killing cyclopses, most of the levels are fun. There is even the treetop stair race that they brought back from Spyro, and it's my favorite level. There are a lot of hidden collectibles like legendary treasures, treasure chests and hats, and the game gives you a lot of room to explore the areas that you're in. And the fact that each element has its own couple of levels brings a lot of variety to the locations. However, while it is a good game, it still lacks a lot of polish. Take for example this glitch that made me restart my level.
Oh, that's nice.
Or this one that's less important, but the ball completely flew off the area. The gameplay can also sometimes be pretty sloppy and pretty glitchy. And since there's no jumping, there are these mindless pushing block puzzles or these crystal puzzles that really are just there to drag out the gameplay. The facial animations are really off.
Because I can all summon my unbeatable deadly light spell of death.
Then levels near the end really feel rushed, and there is a lot of waiting for absolutely no reason, and it really drags the gameplay. There's this Archean robot segment that I never liked, and I will never like it. And there are these platforms where you need to wait for like 30 seconds. They're only on PS3, I think. They're not on Wii, but still, there are 4 of them.
It's not like I can even fuck around to kill the time either, because the platform can kill you! Great!
However, even with all of those flaws, it's still a really enjoyable experience in my opinion, and I highly suggest you to try this game out if you haven't tried it yet. Now, I know I already made a video about Spyro fans, but I just want to show you this clip that I forgot to put in my video.
Complaints just focusing on Spyro.
I mean, who wants a purple pug with wings and scales as their protagonist?
He looks like a purple pug with wings. Okay, firstly, I don't really see it. He just looks like an immature design of a dragon, the sort of thing a kid would find appealing. And secondly, how exactly does one character's appearance take away from the game? Does it distract you? Does it offend you?
Now, another thing that I wanna talk about are bosses. Now, if you watch my original review, you'll already know that I'm not a fan of bosses. The first boss is really cool, and then you realize that all of them are exactly the same. The only ones that are original is the tank from Battlefield and the stone golem from the stone town, but they are all forgettable. Each main boss battle has 3 evil Skylanders and spells in between them. And what makes them even more annoying and more repetitive is that Chaos doesn't want to shut the fuck up. All of his dialogues are almost the same in each boss battle, it's just that the element changes, like Jesus Christ. But hey, I still have high hopes for the final boss battle, you know, it's the final boss battle. Nope, it's just all of the other 4 bosses merged together. It's just that you need to hit Chaos's vehicle or whatever the fuck that is. And what even makes it more annoying is that there is a fucking Hydra behind him that does fuck all, and that's the same Hydra that destroyed the Core of Light and that blew up Eon. It just feels really lazy, and again, it's what I said, it really lacks the polish. But hey, once you beat Chaos, thanks to the Core of Light, you send him back to the Earth and Skylands is saved. And now all that is left is for you to get all of the trophies, upgrade all of the Skylanders, and maybe go back to some areas where you missed some collectibles. And also for more additional content you have heroic challenges, which are even easier than normal levels, and they're there just to boost stats of your Skylanders. You also have battle mode, which is a PvP, it's not online, it's just at your home. There are I think 3 modes, Arena Rumble, Sky Ghost and Sky Jam Master, but the only one that I enjoy is Arena Rumble. Now something that sucks, but I feel like it's just my problem, is that the game is pretty easy and it lacks too much challenge. The only 2 chapters where I can ever die are number 17 and the final boss battle. But then again, I guess it was targeted at kids, and when I was smaller I did find it pretty hard, so I can understand. But now that I've said everything that I wanted to say, it's time that I give this game a rating. And if you watch my original review, I gave it an 8 out of 10, which I really don't think it deserves now that I look back at it. So Skylanders Spyro's Adventure gets a 6 out of 10. While it is still my favorite game, I just feel like it lacks a little bit of post-game content. There is no jumping, which is a huge problem, the boss battles are very lazy, and it lacks a lot of polish on the Wii version especially. And that is where we are going to end this review. Do you agree with what I said? Would you give the game a different rating? Comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.